This conference will now be recorded.
This is the May 21st meeting of the Real Estate and Open Space Committee. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC-BA Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Harwich Real Estate and Open Space Committee on May 21st, 2021 will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Harwich website at www.harwich-mass.gov. I would like to take a roll call to open our regular session. Dave? Okay. Kathy?
Okay. Kathy Green here.
Sorry about that. My cursor moved. I pushed the wrong button. Yes.
You're here. Okay. James?
James here.
Margot?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Welcome to our meeting as representative of the Housing Committee.
Thank you.
First order would be to approve the minutes of February 19th, 2021, the regular and the executive session, and the executive session minutes from April 9th, 2021. Has everybody received the minutes and looked them over? Are there any corrections or amendments that need to be made? Yes, Dave.
There's a typo on the February 19th minutes of the meeting minutes.
The
In
regular
old-
or executive?
It looks to me like it's a regular.
Okay.
The old business section A, second to last line, a misspelling of the word interested.
I gotcha. Yep. Okay.
Minor problem.
Good catch. That's why it always takes more than 4 eyes to review stuff. Any others? Any other corrections or amendments? No. Okay, then I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. And who's? I'll keep record, Kathy. You don't have to.
Oh, I'll take it if you want.
Motion?
Yeah,
Oh, you're on vacation.
that's all right. I'll take the notes. I'm taking them.
Okay, Kathy, thank you. And the second?
Second.
Steve? Right. And roll call, Kathy?
Aye, in favor.
I'm an aye. James?
Aye.
Margot?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Okay, they're approved. I just want to have a brief discussion about Article 33, Jenkins. I don't want to get into too much of a discussion about what happened and why it happened. I think if you all had a chance to watch the meetings on YouTube, town meeting and the CPC meeting that preceded it, you have a pretty good idea of what went on. Mike Lack and I spent a lot of time and worked really hard to make everybody happy and to come back with all the changes and requests that they ever asked for. Yes, Dave.
I think Kathy needs to mute. There's some background noise coming through. Are
okay.
others doing that?
Yeah, or you could mute too. Okay, thank you. And I don't want to bash CPC in any way. I feel that they did what they felt they should do, what they were obligated to do as their position on the CPC committee. And that's okay. But it was a long struggle. It was a long haul. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be brought back again or not. I haven't heard from Mike yet as to what they've decided to do. But I appreciated all the support that we got from the different groups in town. As you saw at town meeting, a lot of people stood up and questioned stuff. The Hinckley's Pond Association was very strong advocates. Naturally, I mean, it's their backyard, and others who were supportive. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. It was kind of a crazy ride from the beginning. From my understanding, next year, or at the end of this year, when the new CPC things, it's going to be run differently. Everything is going to go through town administrator first, and then legal. And so by the time it gets to the CPC, all the legal questions have been resolved. That's what happened this time. Different things came up after the application had already been made. Kathy, is there anything you'd like to add or?
Sure. Basically, I mean, yeah, there was some legal issues, but for the Community Preservation Committee, it was all about the process. And in fact, between town council, town administrator, and the Board of Selectmen, the actual warrant article that, we had approved as a committee changed drastically. And that's why they felt that they couldn't approve it. It wasn't really the same thing they had initially approved. That there wasn't really enough time to publicly vet this sort of new interpretation of the article. Now that's just sort of a series of missteps and miscommunications, I think. But, there is a possibility if there's a special town meeting in the fall for a new select person, there's nothing that says that, we as a committee can't put in a new application this summer and get it vetted and approved, for potentially for that town meeting. I don't know if that's something that we want to pursue or not, but there's nothing that precludes us from that. So, the Community Preservation Committee sought legal counsel themselves from the coalition that sort of like manages us, and they felt that that was the right way to go, which was for us not to, support that at this time because it wasn't what we had originally recommended. So, it's unfortunate, but it's not necessarily dead. It really depends on what we and our co-applicant, which is HCT, decide to do moving forward.
Yeah. And Mike was not able to join us today. He has an appointment off Cape, so he wasn't able to join us. So, that's where it stands until HCT decides what they want to do. I mean, there are other possibilities without involving CPC funds that, maybe the project can still go through without CPC. That's a possibility. Okay. Anybody have any questions or any comments about it? Margot?
Just a comment, Elaine. I mean, what the selectmen were saying after town meeting sounded to me like, all of the quotes in the newspaper and so forth sounded to me like they want to see it come back. And certainly the tenor of the town meeting from the comments that we heard during the debate on the article, I think there was a lot of support there for the proposal. So, I think we should bring it back. and if it's doable to bring it back before the fall town meeting, that would be ideal, because then you can just, keep it moving forward. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, and I said, I would agree. I think if HCT decides that they want to bring it back to us and back to CPC, I mean, I'd certainly be in favor of doing that. I'd hate to see all the work that we've done over the past year, almost a year, for naught. And we did have support of the selectmen, well, a couple of the selectmen. Mr. Howell, Mr. McManus, they were both on the phone with me beforehand when Mr. Nixon, chair of the CPC, called me 2 days before town meeting and said that they were going to, pull the article, not go through with it. Mr. McManus was on the phone to me, Mr. Howell was on the phone to me, and they had also attended some of the meetings, so the CPC meetings. So we know we have their support. And of course, there's a new selectman on the board, so that could change things too. And also, they're going to have an election for selectmen in September if they have the town meeting special election and special meeting in September. So, or they can have the selectmen vote even earlier than that. According to the meeting the other night, they can put in, if they put in this coming Monday on the 24th to have a special election, they only need 60 days. So sometime the end of July, they could have an election for another select person on the board. So we'll see how that works out. But it will be a new board of selectmen. It will be a new chair also. Besides.
Yeah, and Elaine, can I add to that? The majority of the Community Preservation Committee was in favor of this
Yes.
project.
Yeah.
Just not the convoluted way that it ended up. And in
Yeah.
fact, the vote was 6-2 to not recommend it. And I did not vote to not recommend it. So I stayed the course.
I know you did, Kathy. Yeah, and you do a great job representing us on that committee, and I really appreciate you doing that. Yeah, and you understand. You of all people understand what we went through to that, and it was through no fault of ours actually, because when the town administrator turned over the draft to legal, the attorney from KP Law who handled this talked to Michael Locke, and he explained everything to her, sent her maps, how efficient and thorough Michael is. But then when she gave the final written article, it was different than what the information Michael had given her. It was different for us. It was different from what CPC had originally seen. It was different from what everybody had originally seen. So it was through no fault of ours. It wasn't anything that we changed or did. It was really, and even the town council, Mr. Giorgio, at one of the meetings said it was due to a miscommunication. So on their side. So there it lies. So hopefully, one way or another, if it comes back and we bring it back up again, which I would be thrilled to do, but we just have to wait and see what HCT decides that they want to do, and we'll go again. Member reports. Anybody have anything they'd like to share? Anything going on?
Just a point of order. Did we approved the February minutes, but did we approve the April ones?
Well, I think we did them all. We did them all.
All at once. Okay.
Yeah. Well, with that amendment, with that one correction, Dave.
Does anybody know what's going on with that clearing of the property up on Hall's Path? Because that was a piece of property, we were kind of looking at it as an owner's unknown, and I just wondered if there's any.
That's a hornet's nest right now. Yes, apparently a lot of the residents in that area have been emailing and calling selectmen, complaining about how the trees were cleared. They are complaining about, and rightfully so, traffic using that road as a cut through to get it from, I guess, from 39 and Bay Road to cut over and come back out on 137 somewhere else. I don't know. But they are looking into it, Dave.
It goes over to yeah, Pleasant Bay Road.
Oh, Pleasant Bay, that's right.
Yeah, you can get over to Pleasant Bay Road from it.
Yeah. So there was a suggestion that speed bumps be put in there, to slow traffic down. Cars, trucks, whatever seem to be going through there. But as far as the owner's unknown property, we do have a thing going on there. Mr. McCaskill spoke to me, and he did say it openly at one of their meetings. He wants to get together with us, here we go again, and pursue the owner's unknown properties surrounding that area. I know. Here we go. But he is serious about it, and I guess he's been getting a lot of calls about stuff over there. So he intends to do something about it, and I think this time he's pretty well set on it. So we'll see what happens.
My concern is that was never one of our high priority parcels, and he's gonna ask us to go spend our $50,000 on chasing that piece of property, and that's was not our priority. We really would have to reevaluate that with respect to all other properties that we're interested in doing this chasing.
Yeah. And he did mention the 50,000 and to clarify with him and Mr. Howell too. He's in on this, that if that, as Kathy has told me, that money can only be used for, that CPC money really can only be used for open space and things like that. So it can't be used for anything. But that's what he intends to have it for, is for open space. And their idea is that, or their argument is, the more open space that's preserved, the less sewering will have to be done in that area. That's going to be their argument. So.
Haven't we used that argument before?
Yeah, I know. It's
I mean, like, for all of a sudden for them to just pick one area because all of a sudden there's been some clearing and now there's all this hue and cry about it. I mean, this is not something that's ever been identified by either us or the selectmen as a priority area for conservation, preservation, or affordable housing. And unless it falls into one of those categories, we can't use those funds, nor we can pursue it with CPC funding.
Right.
I mean, so they can't all of a sudden decide, oh, we want to preserve this area. I mean, there's got to be a little bit more background to this. I mean, they're going to have to come up with a little bit more.
Well, I think that Mr. will join our meetings at some point, and we'll put out with him and find out, we'll have the discussion with him. But as when they start getting a lot of calls and emails and whatever from people, they have to react. They have to do that. So we'll just see. If the ball's in his court, he has to come to us. We're here, and he's been invited before, and he has an open invitation. Anytime he wants to join one of our meetings, he's certainly welcome to do that. And I have a feeling that he will. That he definitely will. I think they're waiting now for the changes on the board and who's going to be chair, who's going to be clerk, and all that kind of stuff has to get resolved. So we'll see what it comes from. Yes, Dave.
Elaine, if Mike, we should make Mike the same offer we made to Don, that we're willing to change the time for our meeting I mean, Mike does run a business in North Chatham, and he may not be able to take the time during this time slot. So
Uh-huh.
I think make sure that from my perspective, I think that door should be left open
Okay, yeah,
at a time
for
that's
sure.
convenient for him.
Yeah, and like I said, I've always been after him, because he makes these statements, he talks at the Board of Selectmen meeting in public, I'd like to get together with the REOS Committee and all that, but then it never happens. So we're here,
Yeah,
we're
I
waiting.
agree.
Okay, Art, is there anything you'd like to share with us? I know you and I were both on the meeting yesterday with the Affordable Housing Trust.
No, not really. I'm just waiting with bated breath to find out what's going to pop out of the box on his secret property, which most people know where it is, but and see how that's going to be put together and what's going to happen with it going forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the best unkept secret in town.
it's a big chunk, and from what I understand, and I don't know if they're going to bite off little pieces at a time or go for the a big huge project. But I can't. I don't know which way they're going to go. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the dog chasing the car, and then when the dog catches the car, what's he do with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be much. Well, you can also talk to this, Art. Maybe I understand that Habitat for Humanity is going to start on the 6 houses over on Murray Lane.
Oh, well, thank you for bringing that up because I'm one of the featured speakers there come Monday afternoon on their kickoff. I'm representing my own committee, and the Housing Committee was the first one to approve funding for the project. This goes back about to, I think, around 2017, when they allocated funding out of the Affordable Housing Fund long before there was a trust. So that fund is still out there. It's accumulating. That's the monies that generated from the cell tower. And so anyways, the kickoff is this Monday, the wall raising sometime in June, and away we go. 6 new houses. The prospective property owners have been selected, and then all they got to do is, hang in there for a year, put in their sweat equity, and make sure they stay solvent and employed, and so on and so forth, and work their way up to the closing. So it's a great opportunity.
Dave?
Yes.
Art, is Habitat going to be having volunteers assist with that on this bill now that?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's a big, big component of the bill. That's why they can build them so-called affordable, because they rely on a lot of volunteer work. I mean, they're actually down there right now doing what they call the capping. They of course the foundations are poured by a contractor, and all the site preparation. But the volunteers put on the cap, and then they start building the walls and stuff like that. So they've been doing. They had a house they're building up in Orleans, and they have a couple down in Mashpee, and they've been using just kind of a select group of volunteers. They haven't put out a general call for volunteers. They just want to kind of up till this point, anyways. Rely on people that been with them for a while and kind of know the procedures and stuff like that. So they didn't want to bring in a lot of new people and kind of compromise anything that might take place. So they've been working somewhat during COVID-19. They were shut down for a while, of course, but in the last few months they've been working. It's with a smaller crew. But you answer your question, yeah, they will be. And they will be looking for volunteers, so particularly for Harwich, because, the 6 houses, and they don't build themselves. So-
Kathy, I think, Kathy and I and Marcia walked this property a few years back, right, Kathy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yep, we definitely did.
Yeah, yeah. So, and everybody's familiar with where this is?
No, I was going to ask, where is it?
Okay,
This is on West Harwich. It's a new road, Murray Lane. And if you're familiar with the Captain's Row neighborhood down there now, just as you're heading towards Dennis on 28, it'd be on the left-hand side, past the Herring River, almost to the Dennis town line. It's actually it's past.
Margo, it's right behind, there's two houses that are it's on the left-hand side going towards Dennis Farm.
Right, that was
It's
the former
behind
Chase.
those two houses. So
Yeah,
Murray
it's behind it. Yeah.
behind.
I mean,
So, and
you
then
can
there's
go
that
by it.
new,
Yeah.
there's that new yellow house that just got redone that looks real nice. It's right.
Before that one,
Yeah.
before that one. But it's a road cut in there now, so you could actually miss it going by because it's the property's behind what was the former Chase property and that smaller ranch style house out front.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
it's going to be a great opportunity for 6 families, and like I say, Habitat keeps our affordable housing program alive here in Harwich.
Yeah.
We can always depend on them because they do what they say they're going to do, and they do it when they say they're going to do it. There's no nonsense in between. So,
Yeah.
You cannot success.
Yeah, you got it. The only other thing at that Affordable Housing Trust meeting yesterday was they discussed Sisson Road project. Soil analysis has still not been done. The RFP has still not been written, but they went through the list of things that they want included in the RFP and how it's going to be worded, how it's going to be run. It's still a work in progress without much progress, I guess we could say.
That's a good way to sum it up. I should write that down.
Yeah. And, they wanted 100% rental, which I think I agree with, because I think we need rental apartments in this area.
We do, yeah, that's it.
They would like to see it 100% affordability.
Right.
The building design, they're looking at 2 quads, parking in the back, the front, some nice landscaping, so it kind of fits in, with the area. They started getting into other design things and stuff that they would put in the RFP, but some of it gets down to, let's not start picking out the paint for the kitchen wall before what the building's going to look like, but they're talking. Go ahead.
When you write these RFPs, well, yourself, there's a fine thread you can, weave, because you can't really dictate the project, otherwise
Right.
you off another tangent. So it's got to sound and almost look like it was, well, this is what the developer wanted to build. And we had minimal amount of input. So the 100% affordability, I think that's going to be a heavy lift because, if you're renting out property, I mean, it costs money to run the property. And I don't know if you're familiar with some of the numbers that are out there right now. They're staggering. Just to run one apartment unit, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars every year just to support that unit. And you say, well, what's going on here? Well, you got a building superintendent. Someone's got, even brand new buildings still have to be maintained. And then when a developer goes out, and if it'll go with a 40B project, and he'll go for state funding. And everyone knows once you touch state funding, you're now for forever and ever inundated with all kinds of reporting. So just to maintain the records of that property, and the state requires all these various programs and record keeping and so on and so forth. So that takes person hours. That takes money to do it. So to be totally affordable, I hope it would be, but it's hard to say if it's going to go that way.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see when they get it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great project.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see it done. I'd like to live long enough to see it done. People losing and Carol, thanks for joining us.
Sorry, I was late.
That's
I'm a
okay. Kathy has jumped in and taken the minutes so far, and I'll email you later. There was just one typo correction on one of the minutes, so and not a big deal. So that's been amended.
Okay, I was just a few minutes late, but I can just get the part I missed from the video, right? This is all recorded, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, we are.
Right.
We are recorded.
So a few minutes late, I'll just catch the beginning. You got a lot of work done right from the start.
Well, like I said, we haven't. Well, there isn't much other than going over Article 33 discussions. So that's about it. Anybody else have anything they'd like to contribute? Anything going on in there that they've come across that we might be interested in? I do have something for our next month's agenda, but we'll. And if anybody ever has anything they want on the agenda, please let me know so that I can put it up there. I have nothing else to report. Was it anybody else? No? Okay.
Elaine?
Yes.
Elaine?
Yeah.
You and Mike have a meeting with the town manager planned for early June, is that correct?
Yeah, June 12th, I believe it is. This is part of the new process. So at this point, at that meeting, we will discuss whatever property we feel that we're going to apply to CPC for funding. We can't discuss that today because it's not on the agenda, and we were asked not to have it on the agenda until after we speak with town administrator. So I will see what happens June 16th, 9 o'clock. Our next meeting should be June 18th, so that would be 2 days after that meeting. I know town hall is going to start opening up. June 15th actually is the day that things are going to open. The selectmen are already holding their meetings up in the Griffin Room in town hall without any, any other attendees, just themselves. So I don't know how our meeting will be on June 18th. We'll have to see how things go. Whether we are still continuing to go to meeting like we are now, or whether those that want to meet in person can meet in town hall, and those that want to join in and go to, I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to work out. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do. And that's kind of the way life is these days. We just have to wait until somebody tells us we can do again or not do again. And it changes every day. So mark June 18th, where and how will be to be determined, but that will be our next meeting. Anything else? Then I would, yes.
Just one quick comment. Carol sent me the minutes this morning, and this is the first set of minutes that I've seen since I've rejoined the committee, and I have to say they are really excellent. I've read a lot of minutes in my life, and it's hard to summarize succinctly complicated issues, but I think these minutes are among the best I've ever seen. So thanks.
I agree, completely agree. And Carol, you do a great job. And Kathy Thank you.
Oh.
When you cover for Carol, you do an excellent job too. God knows a lot better than I would, because with me, you'd get an outline. You know, you'd get an outline. You get bullet points. That would be it. You know, a
Thanks,
lively
Kathy.
discussion ensued, you know, that would be mine. So thank you both. You do a great job. And Carol, I'd spoken to Jamie, and she is going to give me information. There is a way you can get a transcript of the meetings. So that can help too, as you know, watching video and getting a printed transcript can also help. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, if nothing else, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So before we do that, though, I have a question, Elaine.
Sure.
So Margot's probably referring to Kathy's excellent minutes. And with executive committee minutes, I do take more detailed notes because it's not available through the video. But when
Right.
it's a video, when it's videoed, my idea of minutes is more just quick details of what we discussed, and anyone who want, or quick, note of what we discussed, and anyone who wants details can go to the video. That's kind of the way I do it. Should I
Right.
not do it that way? Should I?
No, you're fine. You're fine. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask you, how are we with minutes? Are there any past minutes from executive sessions where the topic is no longer executive? Are there any things that we have in the past that haven't been released yet that could be?
I'll go back and check, but I think things really, what happens if they just go out of the public eye? It's not like something happens, it's just nothing ever happens. Do I put them in the records, or do I just keep them as private? That's a good question.
Kathy, maybe you or Marco, you guys know, I thought once an issue has been resolved and it has been public and is no longer in discussion, that those executive committee minutes can be open. No?
That's true. That's correct. You're correct. But sometimes nothing happens. They just the subject just goes out of talking.
Yeah, I think that it would be smart to, on an annual basis, review any executive session minutes that we have. And, if something is, gone or has already, passed and nothing that is in those minutes would, cause an issue affecting the negotiations or anything like that, then we can release them. Otherwise, we shouldn't. So it should be maybe something that's an annual review.
Right. That's a good idea, Kevin.
I'll bring that up.
Like any executive session minutes we had, like with Deacon's Folly or Cherokee Road, those are done. They're over. They're no longer. Yeah. So yeah,
Right.
Good suggestion, Kathy. Thank you, Carol. We should do that. Okay.
Sounds good.
Anything else? Dave, you had your hand up before.
Well, I was just thinking about and reviewing stuff like that. Like, I remember Bob Freitas came with his proposal before the committee. I notice now that there's a sign outside the property that is for sale. But that would just be an example of something. Is that finalized now, or it could come back up with a committee that we could do at that point? I would think if we were to be involved with that piece of property again, would that go an executive committee, or would that come to the general committee? It'd be public.
So,
Well, I think it would be executive session. We're going to discuss any property again.
so should we?
But those are the difficult ones. I think the Deacon's Folly is clearly resolved.
Right.
But there's handlers too. Handlers Junkyard. We had an executive committee on that, but that's
And that's been resolved. That's been sold back into family.
Right.
Camp.
Right.
Right.
So that.
It's been sold. I didn't realize it had been sold.
all right.
Yeah. So Carol, we'll go over them. Okay. At some point, you and I will touch base on that and see what we can.
Okay, before the next meeting. Yep.
Okay. All righty.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Dave, and yeah, we have to be careful with that particular one you mentioned because something may come back. Yeah, okay. Okey doke. That's it. Speak now or forever hold it. Until June 18th anyway. Okay.
I move that we
Motion,
close the meeting.
excuse me,
I move that we close the meeting.
second?
I second.
Okay. Okay, roll call vote. Carol,
I agree.
Kathy,
Aye.
James,
Times 9/11.
Aye.
and Marco.
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Thank you all very much. I appreciate the work you do and the input, and hopefully things will get more like they used to be, if not exactly like they used to be. Okay, thank you all very much, and enjoy the rest of the day and the beautiful weather. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.